Welcome to the Hillis Public Adjusters podcast. If you've ever had property damage or worried about what would happen if you did, you're in the right place. Because behind every claim, there's a story, and not all of them go the way they should. We're pulling back the curtain on the insurance world, sharing real claim experiences, hard lessons, and the kind of insider knowledge that can make all the difference. We're your host from Hillis Public Adjusters, and we're here to educate, empower, and maybe even entertain you a little along the way. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome. Today I am joined by Bob Hillis and Brendan Conahan. I'm calling this the old school and new school of public adjusters interview. Yay! So Bob, you've been a public adjuster for how many years now?
43 years.
43. And Brendan, how long have you been a public adjuster?
3 years.
3 years. So we have 40 years of experience between the two of you. So I will start with you, Brendan. Working with Bob and with other adjusters that have, been in the industry for longer than you have, what have some of the benefits been for you?
Oh, the knowledge is endless. I mean, everybody really on our team has just taught me so much, what to look for, tips and tricks, how to present information. And at the end of the day, one of my mentors, Dan here, equated this industry to a chess match, right? You always want to be a couple steps ahead of whoever you're going against on the insurance company side. So when you kind of look at what we do in that sense, the knowledge that, everybody's instilled and just how to go about some of these situations has just been great. It's been really good.
I think it's like a really fortunate position that you find yourself in, really, to be able to have that level of experience to help you as you're building your career. How did you learn about public adjusting, or what? Because I know not a lot of people know about public adjusters. So deciding on what you wanted to do, how did you first hear about a public adjuster?
Well, I did have a claim when I was younger. My parents had a claim that didn't go the right way. The insurance company didn't treat them well, as they should. So we had hired a public adjuster, which was Dan, and he got everything taken care of and kind of opened my eyes up to this industry, because I would say it is more on the niche side of things. And after seeing that, it kind of inspired me to want to look into it. And I came over here at Hillis. I did a couple of shadow days, saw how the ins and outs of the industry worked, and decided that, this is beneficial. It helps a lot of people out. And there's a lot of other very important life skills that you learn from being in this industry. Gave it a try, and I'm very happy I did. I never looked back.
So Bob, having someone like Brendan who's new to the industry in the company, it's obviously important because you need adjusters. What would you say is your focus on bringing in newer or, fresh talent to the industry?
Well, obviously we need the fresh talent because most of our adjusters are older, and sooner or later they're going to be retiring, and then we're going to be stuck. Because what do? We don't have anybody that has the information and the knowledge that we have. So we started looking for younger people that we could train. And by the time that the adjusters and myself that are ready for retirement, they've learned so much over those years that they can just continue on with the same knowledge. And even though it's our knowledge, the young people can memorize things still. They're used to college and taking tests, and it's great. I mean, and not every young person really wants to work. Fortunately, Brendan is a worker, and he has a very good work ethic. So we're fortunate with that. But like he was saying about all the different tips, it's just what I've always said is we don't ever want to get caught off guard. We're getting paid by our client to not get caught off guard. So we do always have to be several steps ahead. And really what that means is when you see a claim and you sort of know what the insurance company is going to be asking. You know what they're going to be looking for. You know how they're going to be looking at the gray area, the ambiguous part of insurance policies, to possibly deny or lowball the estimate. Whereas we're looking for the ambiguous language that allows them a claim and gets them coverage. So it's a whole different way of looking at a policy. You can read a policy and they can interpret it one way and we can interpret it another way. And sometimes that has to be decided in court. But
which interpretation is
right.
the correct
And we,
interpretation.
as a company, have built a reputation that we want to fight for it. So we're not going to just settle the claim. We're going to either go into appraisal or go to litigation. We don't have to just settle the claim quickly to get a fee for ourselves. We're looking out to get the most money for the client. And with that win comes our fee.
I'm going to ask another question. It's on a whole, I don't know, on the same line of topic. Same topic line, I suppose.
Okay.
What would you say is the biggest change in the industry of public adjusting between when you started, Bob, to now for someone who may be starting like Brendan?
That's a good question. I remember when I started many years ago, people used to say, oh, this is a dying business. It's never going to last. And I never felt that way because I truly believe that we are needed in the industry and we are helping people. And the more people you help and the more you fight for them, the more business you get and the more people depend on us. So I think that the industry itself has become more, what's the word I'm looking for? Much more needed now than ever because insurance companies are trying to get very, very strict with their interpretation of the policy. They are having a lot of catastrophes throughout the country. And every time there is a major catastrophe, of course, they have to tighten their belts, with the money situation. And it's a business. People have to understand it's a business. I don't like to say horrible things about the insurance company because everybody needs insurance. You have to have insurance. You've got to have life insurance. Nobody wants to die, but you have to have it to protect your family. You have to have medical insurance in case you get sick or have an accident. And you have to have homeowners insurance or business owners insurance. And when you have a medical insurance, you go to a doctor, you go to get a prescription, and that's a claim that they pay. And as you may or may not know, they fight with doctors, the insurance companies, on how much they're going to pay them and whether it's the diagnosis is written out properly or not. So they're in business to make money. They're not in business to just hand it over. And all we do is make sure that they are going to dot their I's and cross their T's, and they're going to give their policyholder what they're entitled to. And by doing that, or the way to do that is to have extreme knowledge of the policy. And, there's things that I think that Brendan can learn, that you can't just get a policy or a declaration page, which is the front copy of the policy, and look at that and know everything about it. He's going to wind up reading so many policies through the years. We've had claims for corn dryers at a farm. I didn't even know what a corn dryer was. It's a silo that they put the corn in, and they have a fire in the silo, and then it dries up the corn, and then they feed it to the animals. So we had a claim with that. And when I went out there, this was years ago, I was very concerned about it because the only policy that this farmer had was a policy for a barn. He had like 5 or 6 buildings on his property, but the only insurance policy he had, which we advise people what they should get and what kind of coverage, he only had the barn. And I read through the policy, and I found one sentence that said that the barn and anything attached to it is covered. Well, their conveyor belt that went from the corn dryer silo into the barn was attached to it. And that day I remember the adjuster getting out of his car and said, he knew me. He said, Bob, I just drove an hour to get here. I'm denying this claim. And I said, no, it's a covered claim. He said, no, it isn't. And I said, well, and I showed him the policy. I showed him the one sentence. And that one sentence got us paid.
Wow.
So that's the things that we do for people that, they don't really see, they don't understand. The knowledge that we have is vital to this industry. Here's a guy that's been in the business, working for the insurance company, did not know that was covered. It was just the barn coverage. And,
most people aren't going to know to go through their policy like that
and
to find that.
So he brought out a civil engineer to look at the farm silo. I think this was back in the Yellow Pages day, may have been on the internet, but we found a corn dryer expert somewhere out west. That's all he does is repair and replace corn dryers. We called him. We flew him in to Philadelphia, drove him up to the farm, drove him back to Philadelphia International Airport, got on a plane and went home. We got a lot of money because he ran circles around the civil engineer.
Wow.
Because that's all he did for a living. And people wouldn't even know to do that. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, and they're the type of things that we can pass on to the younger generation so that when they get into a situation like that, it's not over. It's not over till it's over, is the way I feel. Got to keep looking.
So, Brendan, do you know what Yellow Pages are?
I do. I'm not that.
I know what the Yellow Pages are, but I was just, throw it out there, test you. One final question for you, Brendan. What would you say has been your biggest challenge in becoming a public adjuster or like as an adjuster to be successful, and how have you overcome it, or what has helped you to overcome it?
So I hear a lot of stories from all of our adjusters that this industry was not easier, but people were better to work with back in the day in terms of dealing with the insurance company adjusters. They were more reasonable, more willing to work with you. Whereas a lot of people have the major carriers like State Farm, Allstate, Farmers Insurance. It seems, from what I gather, those jobs are for their desk adjusters and field adjusters are pretty high turnaround, meaning that you're just getting a lot of these fresh faces, and the way that they're trained is just to outright deny or not use logic or their brain to look at a situation in a different light. That said, you have stuff that can be very clearly coverable and it's written in the policy, and you'll still get these people who are just borderline incompetent and don't want to work with you. So finding a way to present situations to deaf ears has definitely been one of my biggest challenges. And I think it comes with experience and time and continuing to learn to fully explain it as if you're talking to someone who has absolutely zero knowledge about any of this, make it so clear that they can't deny it. That's definitely been a big challenge, and something that, again, I learned from Bob and all of our adjusters.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very, he's right. Every claim is different. Every claim. And nothing's easy. There's always a complication involved there. There's just always some complications. And we have to be prepared for those complications and be able to overcome them. And I think that's one of the other reasons why people should hire a public adjuster is that we know the language of the policy, we know the laws of the insurance industry, and we know reconstruction cost. So I think that they have to be a pretty good adjuster on the other end to be able to fight us off, because what we ask for is what the clients are usually entitled to.
This has been really illuminating for me, and it makes me excited about the future for Hillis and also for our clients, because when you have maybe someone newer that's coming to work with you, like Brendan, it's not just Brendan that's coming, because behind him, he has all of these adjusters that have all of this experience that they're pouring into you so that you can go out and help our clients. So I think it's just really a smart move for someone to call Hillis, because we have longevity, we have the knowledge, and we have that history, the relationship. So maybe you might not have worked with a specific adjuster in the past, but Bob or Dan or Lou or one of the other adjusters has, and they can help give you that guidance to have that conversation with them.
And he could always threaten the insurance adjuster that if you don't settle the claim with me, you're going to have to deal with Bob. There's the bad cop again. So
shall we call Bob?
And I think that would help also. But I hope you actually answered the question you asked me better than I did about how the industry has changed, because I don't think that the industry has changed that drastically. However, like Brendan said, they're being very particular about things. They are trying to do what we do, read the policy and interpret it in their way, whereas we're interpreting it our way. So that's challenging. And I think that they're just using more experts and bringing out all the ammunition they can to either deny or delay or defend a claim. And our job is to overcome that obstacle.
So for those homeowners out there that are listening to this podcast, we would say call Hillis, because we are equipped and prepared to fight that fight. We have the knowledge. We know how to combat against those arguments that they present. It makes sense for you. So
call Hillis first.
Call Hillis first. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. It's been very a learning experience for sure, and also kind of fun. I like having the old school and the new school in the house. Yay!
That's the future right there of our business.
Yeah. So thank you, Brendan, and thank you, Bob.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Hillis Public Adjusters Podcast. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe, share it with someone who might need it, and stay connected with us for more insights and real stories from the field. And remember, when it comes to your claim, knowledge is power, but having the right advocate makes all the difference. We'll see you next time.